I'm going to show you the 4 different build levels for the Mosin Sniper in Escape from Tarkov, starting with the pre-flea market build and working up to the Giga Chat build. With these builds, I made a few assumptions around a central idea, and that is using the Mosin for mid to long range sniping. I believe based on that concept, the priority for gun stats should be based in ergonomics and accuracy. Ergonomics affects 2 major areas for any gun build: how fast you can ADS and your arm stamina drain. Let's get started building some Mosins. And first up, the pre-flea market build. We are looking at a mid-combat range build for the Mosin. It offers a fairly low cost at the usability cost of 6 ergonomics. The gun itself is not available for purchase until loyalty level 2 with Prapper, but you can barter for this exact build with the current cost of 5 D-size battery and 8 AA battery. To build this gun, you will need a PU 3.5 times scope and a PU rings, both of which are available for Prapper level 1. This should cost you around 15,000 rubles for these parts. This is how it looks and performs in the hideout. Overall, the ergo feels pretty bad, with an ADS time of 54 milliseconds, and an average ability to stay aimed down sights for 45.17 seconds crouch and 33.87 seconds while standing. Additionally, with some optics, such as this one, it's almost impossible to lean peek as the scope swings around and you lose sight for an extended duration. You can, however, use the slide motion and stay perfectly inside of your intended target. Despite its shortcomings in ergonomics, the Mosin is a great weapon for the early game. It has the ability to penetrate almost every armor in the game and has a relatively high amount of damage. For the budget build, I like to use the same build as the level 1 trader, except for I like to throw on a Bramit suppressor. With the flea market, you can generally pick up the Bramit for around 30,000 rubles, bringing the total parts cost up to around 45,000. You should also be able to buy the Mosin Sniper variant from Prapper level 2 for around 45,000 rubles. This brings the total build cost to 90,000 rubles. In the hideout, we can see with 0 ergonomics, it's going to feel even worse than the level 1 trader build. However, we can now silently eliminate targets, allowing for much safer scav kill quests. Let's take this up a notch by throwing on some better optics. Starting with your base Mosin Sniper, you'll need a 30mm ring mount. Any variant will work. The Patriot K plus 4W rail mount, and your favorite 30mm optic. Here I went with the Burst because the price is the lowest while still being fairly usable. To build this gun, we're looking at a rough price of 85,000 rubles for all the components, and a total with a rifle for about 118,000 rubles. Much like the other builds, there's very little ergonomics, giving us a very slow aim down sight speed and a very fast arm stamina drain. The main advantage is that we upgraded our optics, moving this build from a close to mid-range combat to a long-range capable weapon. If this is your first time here, and you want to learn how to improve your Tarkov gameplay, make rubles, and all kinds of other Tarkov-related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking that bell so you don't miss anything. Finally, the Mosin that you can bring home to mom. Top tier. This Mosin comes with 17 ergonomics, and it's by far the best that you can get with it being suppressed. The shopping list for this gun is the Archangel stock, the Patriot K mount, the Vortex Razor HD scope, Tiger Rock thread adapter, the Wave 7.62x51 muzzle brake, the Pro Mag Archangle 10 round magazine, Wave QD suppressor, and the super precision 30mm ring mount and top piece. The components are going to cost you around 180,000 rubles on the flea market, with a total build cost of 216,000 rubles. I would compare this Mosin build against the others as upgrading from a 1965 Chevy Caprice to a Tesla Model S. We now have an ADS speed of 55 milliseconds and an arm stamina drain time of 31.33 seconds while standing and 41.83 seconds while crouched. We also have attached one of the most versatile scopes in the game, allowing both close and long range combat with ease. While you might look at these different numbers and exclaim, "What the fuck?" there are a few key aspects to keep in mind when comparing these builds. The upgrades to the scopes drastically affects the ergonomics, but it greatly increases your ability to acquire targets at multiple ranges. Additionally, the first build does not have a suppressor, which this white Battlestate Games has decided that suppressors need to be nerfed into the dirt and then shit on and buried. By removing the suppressor from the top tier build, we see an ADS time of 36 milliseconds, with an arm stamina drain duration of 34.5 seconds while standing and a 45.97 seconds while crouched. In summary, the Mosin has very few build options, none of which have great ergonomics, but with full build prices starting at the base cost of other range snipers, the Mosin is a great choice for balling on a budget. Personally, I use the mid-range build when I'm looking to guarantee one-shot headshots at range, but if I'm going to spend any more than that on a sniper, I'd prefer to use a DVL or an M700 with a better high-end ergonomics. If you found any of these builds helpful, or you learned something new, please let me know by hitting that like button and drop a comment down below if you're going to use any of these Mosin builds. If you want to learn more about Tarkov, check out this video here.